this.
Did she come last time?
No, she's better than me. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll introduce ourselves again. My name's Aiden. I'm the Health and Individual Rights Coordinator, like I said. This is...
My name is Samantha. I'm just the autistic one that tagged along.
I'm Felicia, the health case manager at Autism Breakthrough.
And she's the nervous one. So, so we'll tell you a little bit about Breakthrough. It's just going to be really informal. We just want to talk about what we do, how you may encounter us, and how we both can help each other have positive interactions when we do have to encounter each other. So Breakthrough, we were founded in 1999 by parents who got together and said, hey, our kids are about to age out of the system. Once you reach a certain age, you stop getting certain benefits or being eligible for certain things. So these parents said, we're getting older. What are we going to do? We can't take care of our kids for the rest of our lives. So how can we give them a place where they can learn independent skills and be set up to live a better life without us when we're gone? So they got together and they formed Breakthrough Corporation, and that's where we are now in 2024. We've got a neighborhood with, what'd you say, 8 to 10 houses? Yeah?
Yeah. Duplexes?
Yeah, and I guess I should say duplexes. And they each have about 2 to 3 roommates, some of them each. They're all housemates. They live together, cook together, clean together. They do all their skills together. We go out shopping in the community, seeing movies. Some individuals work. And that's what we're here to do. We want them to have just as much of a profitable, fulfilled life as we do, because they're entitled to that, right? We also support individuals who come to our facility for social skills groups, so they can learn a big part of autism being, not picking up on social skills or social cues and stuff like that. So, Sam, I'll let you talk a little bit about social skills groups, what they do for you, how they help you, and why you're in them.
Yeah. Hi, like you said, my name is Samantha. I started social groups about almost a year ago. Kind of wanted to do it because I'm 24 years old. I started when I was 23. I still live at home. Kind of noticed that was making my mom's life difficult.
Not you.
Yeah, I make everybody's life difficult, so don't even. So I kind of noticed that I was having a harder time communicating with people, kind of picking up social cues, the whole 9 yards. What is common for you guys, it was a lot harder for me as an adult. So I kind of sat down with my mom and kind of wanted to not change, but fix those issues I was having. So far it's been good, doing good. I'm holding down a job almost a year now. I love it. Amazing.
Where do you work?
I work at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, on Turkey Creek.
She should have brought y'all some today.
I know,
Of course,
I
she did not
did.
come through.
My bad. But no, I have amazing coworkers. Managers are amazing. I was blunt with everything about me, the good and the bad. So they kind of help me out with my stuff as well. So far, anxiety's gone down. Rarely get them now. Anger, amazing. Don't lose my temper as much. The whole 9 yards, everything's doing amazing a year into it. But yeah, it helps a lot. I definitely recommend anybody who knows somebody with autism to definitely do this now.
We're just, like I said, we're going to be kind of informal. What is your guys' experience with autism? Do you know anybody with autism? Have you interacted with anybody with autism before? Do you know how to identify it?
I have 2 little adopted brothers that are autistic.
Okay.
One is just turned 21, I think, and then one is still in high school.
Okay.
And they're both in the system, so.
Okay.
We're trying to figure out what to do with the 21-year-old because he has Asperger's, so it's not sane. It's more of him not being verbal or anything with us. He gets mad a lot. So we're trying to figure out programs for him because there's not a lot of programs.
There isn't.
Yeah.
So.
It's sad that there's so few resources out there, and that is kind of why we were founded. So check us out. Maybe we can be useful for your family. Anybody else have any experience with autism?
Yeah, some family members that are. My
Okay.
son actually I was gonna ask you about this, this is more of like, you accept volunteers, he's at school, he goes to Ferry, does peer tutoring.
Oh.
And
I went to very good.
yeah, there you go.
My
So-
brother's in there. He's a sophomore.
Yeah, so he does peer tutoring, he loves it. So, this is be something right up his alley to kind of volunteer for.
Yeah.
So, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, I'll give you our contact information. I believe we do accept volunteers for various things.
Especially out there.
Mhm.
He's a baseball player, so he does a lot of
Oh.
he started at a young age, which actually wants to bring tears in my eyes right now thinking about it. He did it all on his own, volunteered, they called it an arm league back in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, that he would go out there and volunteer his time and go, play with the kids, and, they'd have games, and then he was there just kind of, with a bunch of different cases, and it was awesome.
That's really cool. He's got a giving heart.
Yeah, super giving.
That's
So this
awesome.
is right up his alley, and, I just think it'd be cool.
Yeah, every Saturday we do activities, something called recreational activities, R&R. So yeah, we always take volunteers.
And we actually have a softball team.
Yeah.
It's made up of our staff as well as people that we support, and go out there and they have a blast. I want to get involved in it this year. I didn't last year, but yeah, that would be perfect for them actually.
You love it.
Yeah. So we'll talk a little bit about what autism looks like. It is this big, beautiful spectrum that covers so much. I'm sure probably your brothers are both very different as well in various ways, and how they communicate. Go ahead, I don't want to cut you off.
So, yeah, they're very different. Like, the 21-year-old, he's very into a computer, so.
Yeah.
And he does not talk a lot, so. And when he does, it's more of a scream.
Yeah.
Like a very high scream, and it's horrible. So we're all like, okay, what do you want? Like, tell us what you want.
Speak.
Like, so, and then the other one, he's lower on the spectrum, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because he goes to school, do fine,
Yeah.
but you can tell it's
Right.
there.
Yeah.
So, but it's a big difference from somebody being all the way on the spectrum to just a little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many differences, and Felicia made a comment a minute ago, it shows up in so many different ways depending on the person. We support, I don't know how many people exactly.
In residential, I want to say about 30, but then we also have PA, meaning they live with parents, but we go and provide them hours throughout the day, and then we provide respite, so at least 30.
Yeah.
But
That's a good amount of people, and I would say not two people are alike.
No.
We even have twin brothers, and they are very, very different.
Yeah.
And it's just wild. So we have individuals who communicate in very different ways. He was saying one brother screams, and then one brother, is pretty communicative.
Yeah,
right?
very mellow.
Oh, yeah? Okay. And then we have some individuals who they can talk, Sam's about to get her driver's license. One, she's not blind as a bat, so she has to get her glasses.
Listen here, Aiden.
But we have other individuals who need assistance with pretty much everything that they do during the day with eating. Some people have to have their food blended and pureed, and others, they'll go eat a steak at Texas Roadhouse. We have some individuals who chatter incessantly, and then we have some individuals who they can't communicate verbally at all. We have one of our twins. He is not able to communicate verbally, but he uses a spelling board and a pencil, and he'll pick out the letters that he wants, and it takes a little bit of time, but he'll put you to shame with how smart he is. It's just amazing. He spoke to his mom for the first time, and he's 35. So for the first time in his life, he was able to communicate with his mom via that spelling board, which was just incredible to witness. But he can't, text or work a computer keyboard. So communication is very different in everybody that we support. And it looks like various things. Sam will talk a little bit about what we realized stemming was. not very familiar to everybody. I'm sure you recognize the phrase, but stimming is a way of getting anxiety out, like you shake your leg or something, but other people may need a physical thing to calm them down and kind of ground them. We have one gentleman who carries around a rubber duck all the time. He will frequently rip the head off the duck, but he loves the duck, even in its shredded state. He loves shredding cotton balls. We have one individual who wears headphones all the time, listens to music, talks very loudly, or makes a sound very loudly when he communicates. What else would you see, like?
Jumping up and down. We have jumping up and down, yelling. We have one, she always does a straw. Every time you see her, she's flicking it, twirling it around.
A vibrating ball.
Yeah, it's different things. I had looked up a definition of stimming after they left. I wanted to read stim. I thought this was good. It's self-stimulating behaviors or repetitive body movements or repetitive movements of certain objects. So they'll tap. We have one bangs up against the washer and dryer. It's a wide range of things that they do, but when you notice that it's kind of repetitive, that will kind of give you a clue, like, okay, they may have autism.
Yeah.
I may have
I've questioned myself since I started working here.
Yeah.
I'm over here flipping pins around.
Yeah.
You're like really thinking about like, do I have it now?
I
Consciously not shaking my legs.
Yeah, it's wild. It's definitely a large spectrum with a variety of things you see.
But outside of the stimming, like noise, sensitivity to noise, lights.
Yeah.
Lights are
Everything y'all are. that is sensitive.
Yeah, that's fair.
Honestly, that's true.
Yeah.
It is
Me
true.
too.
Yes. Yeah. So we want to do this to kind of educate and also get feedback from you guys, because we do encounter you guys, and it's not always going to be pleasant. You're going to run into times where we can't handle a situation, and we do have highly trained people out there. I have a lot of respect for our support staff. They're very knowledgeable about the people they support, and they're very patient people. It's definitely not a job anyone can just walk into and do. So kudos to them, because it's not a job I could do, to be frank. Takes a very special person, so I have to say shout out to them. But we want to make any interaction that we have better for you guys, for our staff members, and as well, ultimately, for the person that we support. You will come to our neighborhood probably at some point. You will get a call. We have a variety of situations. We've had individuals call you guys just because they're upset and they're not getting what they want in that moment, and they don't realize that that's not what you call the police for. Or they don't care. I'm not sure which one it is. But so you may encounter situations like that. Unfortunately, it does happen. We can't always catch it, before it does. But you may be called because someone thinks we're kidnapping a person. We do use restraint procedures when we have to. We try not to, but it does happen. People get overwhelmed, frustrated, and really aggravated, and so we do have to use restraint. We've had a citizen call in that we were trying to kidnap somebody and put them in a van, so you may run into that. You may pull Felicia over, run around doing 60 and a 30. No, I'm just kidding. But you may encounter us
There's
like.
a lot of truth.
There's some truth in that.
I've seen her drive, hitting curbs and everything else.
It
But-
does look like you're kidnapping people when they
Yeah.
decide in the middle of the store at
Yeah.
19 they're not leaving, and you two
Yeah.
two grown adults have to pick a
Yeah.
kid up and carry them back out to your car. It looks horrible.
It looks.
I'm glad you have this experience, because it's great that you can communicate this
Yeah.
stuff as well.
It looks bad.
Yeah, it does. It does look bad.
It really does.
It's not pleasant in public, that's for sure. You may encounter us because, what was the other one? We've had trouble in the neighborhood before, an individual getting really upset. It was beyond staff's control. And we have had negative experiences as well. I'll just be blunt. You know, not everybody has good days. Not everybody's perfect. We get that. We aren't either. But we've had a policeman come in and just, you know, you're trained to react to, if I'm negative toward you, you're going to be negative toward me, right? That's human nature, and also your training. You've got to react off of what I'm doing. So we had a gentleman who was very upset, and the police officer's first instinct was, well, I need to detain you so you're not upset and you're not hurting anybody. And then it skipped to, well, I need to tase you. And we had a staff member, no, like in between the two, trying to stop it and explain he has autism. This is a natural reaction for him. We just need a little bit of assistance. So not every interaction will be pleasant, but we want to make it as easy as we can.
In that situation, though, the responding officer, when he arrived, I think the staff, they were trying to kind of explain to him and tell him, hey, this is what's going on, he has this and that, and he just wasn't trying to hear it. He was just basically, he saw how that person was reacting, and to him it came off as aggressive and just, I don't know, a potential danger to, you know, everyone.
And that's a natural response, I think, to be honest. And
Was
fair.
when we get calls, because I'm assuming most of them are for the ones that are probably too much to handle
Yes.
physically,
Mhm.
what's the best approach
Yeah.
for us in that? Because obviously listen to the case.
Yeah, listen and try, and then.
What can we do that you guys can't, I guess?
Like, are there ways that we could talk to them that's gonna like help them out, or like?
Where's
is
our
it-
presence gonna make it?
Is it one of
Doesn't
those
make- yeah,
situations
doesn't
where
make
we
sense.
come in, it's gonna be?
I think it's probably going to vary with each person. Of course, talk to that staff person, and they really should kind of be able to tell you more of what assistance they need. I know one thing that Sam said was just in the beginning, I think, don't interrupt, and you know that your time is limited, so you can't, you know, stay there for forever. So just in the beginning, set that time frame, like, hey, I have this amount of time. What's going on? Explain to me, or like that.
Sam's family has a lot of police officers in it, but her friends have had negative interactions with cops. So
Yeah.
I'll let you talk a little bit about what their experience was versus yours,
Yeah.
and how they can respond if they were coming
Yeah.
to interact with you.
So, yeah, like you said, I had family, long time law enforcement from World War One. So a long time. My mom was a corrections officer, so she told me, in an all-male prison, by the way, told me different stories. We have a family friend of ours back in Florida. Her daughter, same spectrum as I am, got diagnosed the same time as I did, even the same age as me. But the difference is that her mom wanted to keep it a hush-hush, like, no, nobody can know. She sheltered her way too much. As of my mom, she kind of just, slowly as she felt like I was ready, she kind of pushed me a little bit, even out of my comfort zone. So I really never had a bad experience with cops. I actually became friends with them and volunteered at the police department. I loved it. Her, on the other hand, she had really bad experience with, you know, the law enforcement, with cops mainly, to the point that, like, her mom had to call the cops because she got very aggressive, like, started to throw things. And when the cops came, she was already, like, almost grabbed her mom and body slammed her. The cops came not knowing she was autistic, kind of normally, but, like, kind of charging. She grabbed, I think it was either a phone or a pan, and just threw it at the cop. Yeah, it was bad. So obviously, cops' intuition, not tase them, but like do something. And that overwhelmed her. She went to, not jail, but like into a hospital, mental hospital. That she had a really bad experience with cops after that. But I had a few people at Breakthrough that I personally know that also had bad experience with cops for a variety of reasons I'm not going to say. That's their private issues. But yeah, that's one of the examples. My friend went to a mental hospital because of that.
If think about a time when you were really angry or something, and she comes up to you, how is her what's the best way for her to approach you in an angered state?
I wouldn't say slowly, but just walk normally, just talk to me and be like, hey, like, how you doing? My name is Officer so-and-so. What's your name? And then, like, slowly, just gradually keep my mind going to kind of, like, be like, not get me out of that state of mind. That's always the best way I could say. Because if you slowly do that, they're going to slowly calm down and be like, okay, this person isn't going to hurt me. I don't feel like I'm going to get hurt. Because they're not going to be in that fight or die mode. They're not going to feel like they need to, like, go get violent or defend themselves in their form of defending themselves. So slowly talk to them while you're gradually, like, without them realizing, you're walking closer and closer to them while you're calming them down, talking to them. That's always my best advice.
We sum that up as like redirect. We have one individual who will start getting angry and be like, hey, what'd you eat for dinner last night? You know, just change the subject
Yeah.
completely.
So that was my question, because you actually brought up a good point. What is the type of mindset is it when they are having one of those episodes or crisis? Is it anger? Is it scared? Is it?
I feel like it's like a mixture of both. They're angry, but they're also scared because when they're in that, it's a flight or die mode.
Okay.
Is the best way I can explain it. And when they're in that mindset, they don't know what's going on, so they get instantly scared, and then
seeing someone with a uniform and a gun.
yeah, they see that, and then it depends on their experience with the cops.
Right.
They automatically see a person in uniform. They'll get angry because they're going to be like, okay, I had experience with this cop is going to do the same thing. So they're going to instantly get that anger. So like he said, redirect.
Yeah.
So it's a flight or die mode. It's a mixture of scared and angry.
Do you feel?
Bringing ice cream in that work?
Yeah.
Shit, I don't get scared, but that would work for me.
She's like, I will be scared if you bring me an ice cream.
I'll be scared.
911.
911, I'm terrified.
Would you say it's a lot of frustration because what you're feeling inside you can't communicate that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's when we're in that state of mind, like it's hard, even for somebody verbal, it's hard to say like, hey, I'm feeling like this, and this, or this caused me to be in this state of mind.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So redirection is key.
It really is.
If you need that answer, redirect as best as you can to get what you need from that person.
Yeah.
And then probably space and patience.
Yeah, much patience.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You need a lot of patience with us, man. Shut up. Damn.
Especially if like we would be the one to call you, because most times you may get a call from someone who, like we gave the example, we're out in the community, we're helping a stranger, they don't know what's going on, so they call the cops. Okay, really we may have control of the situation, but when you arrive, kinda just make sure you utilize us and come to us. Maybe something's happening at home and someone else calls the cops. Like when you arrive, let us explain the situation. And then if we were to call, it could be to where, you know, it's maybe gotten a little out of hand and we just need that extra help. You know, they see the uniform, they might respect that more, and just be patient and kind of.
Like, I guess you brought up a good point. If you guys call, I mean, that's our best friend.
Yes.
But
So,
if we're
randomly getting a call.
we're getting from someone that's having an episode like in the grocery store.
Yeah.
You know, what are good, I guess, tells? Yeah, that it's.
Okay.
You know, if they're, I mean, I guess it's more experience. I've been in this before, but more just kind of talking for everybody. Is it drug induced? Is it just having a crisis? You know, whatever the case may be. Is there a better way to see that? You know, to kind of break it, because we can change our approach on that aspect too. Like if it's drug and it's like, all right, we may have to get physical, but if it's all right, this person's having a crisis, then you can kind of, all right, let's take a step back and let's approach this a little bit more patiently. You know, so
it's really hard to tell. Like that's how we brought up stimming. Like they do different things, but when they're doing that repetitive motion, it could be rocking back and forth. It could be flailing their ears. It could be screaming, covering their ears, and just there's no really one thing.
Yeah.
It just varies. But when you see that it's something repetitive, that's kind of going to be your biggest sign.
Sign that it's a crisis going on.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And then the lights. That's the big one. Like it just does something. I don't know what it is, but the lights. And
There's
the
something
noise.
to me.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so I guess what you would try to do is like change. Okay, cut the lights off. Change. If there is a loud noise, try to dim the noise, and you'll kind of see that shift in their attitude. They kind of calm down off of that.
Okay.
And to piggyback off of that, we talked about a minute ago, just be blunt with the person. People with autism, like Sam, she's really good. Like I can just be blunt. I can say, "Oh, you're a chatterbox. You talk a lot," you know. And she's like, "Yeah, I do." You know, like they really appreciate bluntness. Like they're not picking up on those social skills a lot.
Yeah.
They need that, and that's something I struggle with because I saw bluntness as being rude, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you have autism. I don't want to be mean."
Yeah.
I'm doing more harm than good.
Yes.
So being blunt with them in a even tone, that's kind of what they need because they don't pick up those social cues. They're not picking up the little hints we're giving.
They're like,
you
"No,
have to
you're
be blunt.
good.
Yeah.
They're also really blunt.
Yes.
They
Oh,
will-
we're
Yes.
brutally
like,
honest.
my brother has no like social skills or cues, so he's just blunt.
Yes.
And it's great.
It's
Especially when,
hilarious.
It's
awesome. Especially when we have people over that don't know and come out of the room and say something, and it's like,
Yeah. Sometimes when I work at my job, we had a person that stayed past closing, and my coworker just walked up to me. And she's like, "You're brutally honest. Go over to that table." I was like, "So you're taking advantage of me?" She's like, "Not really. I'm using you." So I like the honesty. I was like, "Okay." I walked up to the table. I was like, "Hey, yo, we're closed. We can't go until you leave. So can you please just go?" They're like, "Oh, are we really?" I was like, "Yeah." It's like the kitchen closed already, man. It's already past closing. I want to go home. I'm tired. And I was like, "Please, just go home." And they're like, "Okay, I'm sorry." I was like, "It's okay. Just next time, just know better." And I walked away. I was like, "Can I get?"
I know better.
I was like, "Next time, just know better." I was like, I walked up to my coworker. I was like, "Can I now get my drink?" She's like, "Yes, thanks."
She bribed you with a
Yeah.
drink.
I was like, I was thirsty. Just give me something to drink now.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've had.
She gave me
brutal
$10 for that.
experiences. Oh, nice.
Yeah, $10 for a Turan.
I'll start using you. Hey, I need out of this awkward situation.
Come over here now,
Yeah.
please.
But it does look so different in everyone. I've never seen two people have the same thing. And I will say, like you mentioned, is it drug induced if you're coming up on someone in crisis? And I've never seen anyone in crisis look like it was something drug induced.
Yeah.
I think it's, for me anyway, I felt like it's always been distinctive.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. I don't know.
I've seen both, so that's why I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And some you can
Yeah.
pick, and then there's some where it's
It's
I
iffy.
haven't been able to.
yeah, it's hard to distinguish the two.
Yeah.
And so, obviously out of respect of the crisis part, you don't want to jump to conclusion too
Right.
quick, but also for safety issues,
Right.
you kind of, so it is a fine line, obviously we walk.
Yeah.
But I guess, I think Kevin, if y'all call, I'd be like, listen, you just tell me when we'll high five, you tell me when I need to go.
Tell me what
That's-
I need to know.
That's
Support.
awesome. We wish we found that attitude with everyone
Yeah.
because, like I said, our staff are really trained and we rarely have to call you guys, but when we do, it's usually bad.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So, but on our end, what can we do to help you, if you're responding to us? Like, how can we make your life easier?
Provide us with just information about
Okay.
their triggers. Like growing up, kid down the street, full blown. One of his triggers was dirt. Like if you had dirt on your shoes and you walked inside,
Yeah.
Man,
like one time he pulled the TV up and just threw the TV on the wall. Like
that sounds right.
so
Yeah.
we walked in the
Yes.
house with shoes on and there was dirt on
Yeah.
your shoes.
Yeah.
And so like in that instance where it's like if it's I don't know, just something maybe we're wearing on our person that's like they don't
Yeah.
like that, or if it's a color, or something like that. Like if it's the lights, like you were gonna say, just
Yeah. And where do you meet the officer when you do have to call? Is it usually in the middle of it, or is it you meet them out at the car?
Most individuals I ask to go outside if they can and safely monitor the person
Well,
inside as well. But I'd prefer they meet you outside, tell you everything you need
Yeah,
to
give you a
know,
breakdown.
and then let you go do what you need to do from there.
I think that the training in itself here
Yeah.
is more of, you start now in the academy, like we talked earlier with another gentleman, it's just a snowball effect, like we'll start to, more and more officers out there will start to
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
And, but the way I see it is, we're there to support you. You guys need obviously help, which is fine.
Sure.
I'm not there to take over. I'm there
To help.
to help. And, the only way I would overstep, for me personally, and I would hope, any officers, if it came down to a really serious situation.
Right.
But if it's not, and I would let y'all do your job. And then just wait for that, like, all right, then I can't do any more, then, okay, then we can come in and do whatever with the guidance of, because you guys have the relationships with them.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we don't know this person from, Adam, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I think the first part is just to prepare the officer to know that, all right, because like you said, if you meet him inside and this guy's going, punching holes in walls and stuff like
Yeah.
that, yeah, he is gonna be like, all right, I need to
Right.
de-escalate
Yeah.
this
Right.
situation now.
Right.
Where this could just be a normal, having an episode thing, and the officer just doesn't know that, so.
Yeah.
I think like a quick little briefing as he's walking in, probably more information to dispatch would be better, so that way they,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
as he's coming up,
Yeah.
because that's what we do as we're pulling into a call, is we're getting information from dispatch being like, and all we have is, we got a disturbance, violence, is yelling. They're like, there's a lot of yelling and screaming in the backgrounds type situation. You're like, okay, this is walking into a fight.
Right.
So we go in with a higher state of alertness to where, like, hey, we're having a mental crisis, the social worker or whoever's there on scene just needs some assistance. Then you're like, okay, then you can walk into that scene already knowing you have a professional there, and that we can just be there to support it.
Yeah.
So,
And having that open mind is really all we need.
Yeah.
That's what I would say, yeah.
Because the less aggression I found, the better. I haven't seen since I've been here. I've only been here for a year, but I've never seen y'all respond and have to act aggressively towards someone.
Yeah.
Usually, when you've transported people, they've gotten right in the back seat and gone with you wherever they needed to go.
and
So
we normally would take him to the hospital.
That's what I'm
Yes.
gonna say, yeah, like,
Yes.
and sometimes they will, I mean, you're not always gonna get to stay home, sometimes it's time to go, but
Mhm.
like, just being, compassionate with them.
yeah,
And I assumed that like if there's an instance where an onlooker calls, it's like they're kidnapping somebody.
Mhm.
I assume you guys have like credentials on you.
Yeah.
yes, and
Some
they
do,
should.
Some don't, they should, but if they don't, and that's what we need to work on.
Because like if I see somebody like trying to get somebody out of a store,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be like, this does not look
Okay.
good.
right.
Yeah.
And you can tell me that you're
But even
what
if
you're
they
doing,
don't
but I'm
have a
like, are
badge,
you?
like they have something, like they may have their MAR book, their PIP book, they have something to show that that person is in services.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they will have something.
Okay. Because then it is to kidnap.
Yes.
Yes.
And then unfortunately, we gotta take the guys that are kidnapping the guy.
Yeah.
And
So-
go ahead.
you were saying that like all of these like houses are in like one area, one neighborhood.
Most of them are.
Most
We
of
do
them
have
a
some
few-
outliers.
Yeah.
Okay, because my thought process would be like, all right, if we have that information, we kind of know where these houses are.
Yeah.
We can call, it's like this address.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well that's one of these homes, so I'll go respond, but I'm gonna go in with more of an open mind versus
Yeah.
if it's opposite side of town, it's like,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
probably not that. Like,
Yeah.
Are those locations marked by any chance? Like,
No.
this
No.
dispatch?
No.
I know in Houston, we used to have houses that would be, and CIT, I don't know what they call it here, crisis intervention team is what we had there, or training is what we had, but they would mark houses that were like, this person has, bipolar or schizophrenia or this or this. And if a community was marked, you'd be like, all right, listen, this is not, some random, having could be anything. There's probably a crisis, then we expect to see one of y'all there in a way.
Unfortunately, the state's kind of moving away from like institutional looking places and homes and stuff like that. So we don't refer to it we shouldn't be referring to it as a community technically, although it is. It's a great little community back there. So they don't want us marking and stuff like that. Or one gentleman mentioned in Houston they wore blue, or Florida they wore blue or something. We can't really do that, and it sucks, to be frank, because it helps you, it helps others identify that, hey, this person's okay, they just need a moment, and that's their staff with them there assisting them, but it's too, what's the word? Discriminatory?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
I'd say that too.
I don't like that because I think it's very beneficial, but
Well, for everybody, I think.
yeah. But we're here to make their life just like our life, and I don't want my medical history plastered all over my car as I drive by. So
Yeah.
if I think about it that way, then
Yeah,
I
that's
kind of
right.
understand.
Yeah, but sometimes dispatch has like some locations marked for that.
Maybe that's something we should mention is like, hey, you're going into a community. It is a community of residents who all have
Yeah.
autism.
I
And
would
it
think
just-
that would be helpful in our
Yeah.
area.
Okay.
I mean, not
Yeah,
even if
especially-
it's public information, but
Yeah.
even if it's something that dispatch has access to,
Yeah.
that way we kind of have.
And it's more for it's a safety issue.
Right.
Is there a way that we can get that information to your offices, like prior to? I wonder. I mean,
Typically, you would just call dispatch,
Okay.
but I don't know here.
I would say talk to someone in training staff, 'cause
Yeah.
I'm sure they could get you
Okay.
to people in
Or
records.
speak with
and
Miss
then-
Middlebrook.
okay.
She can kind of make the connections.
Okay. I really like that. That brings up a great point that we should kind of have that marked for you guys, so when you're responding to this place. It's
What,
okay.
well, and then also, I'm just thinking Houston, sorry, but they can also send an appropriate officer, because in Houston, there were some people that were they were trained for these type of situations. We're trained to understand if and I was one of them. I had that training to where you could walk in and tell the difference between a drug induced or they're just having a mental crisis.
Yeah.
And, you learn to de-escalate a situation a little bit differently with a mental crisis, than you would a drug-induced crisis.
Yeah.
So that way dispatch knows, all right, this house is marked for a possible,
Yeah.
crisis here. Let's find an officer that is, capable of handling that.
Yeah.
So.
I want to say Knox County Sheriff's Office has some that are specifically trained. So I would imagine your office does as well.
I would assume they did.
I would think so too. Before we wrap up though, Sam, is there anything else you want to communicate to them about like what to look out for, how to respond, or anything?
This is just how my brain works. Do you guys have any questions for me so I
There you
can
go.
answer off of that?
There you go. She's very open,
Yeah,
very
I'm
blunt.
I live in Farragut, so I look forward to seeing you at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Oh,
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
She's gonna tell you,
Just don't
get
kick me
out.
Yeah, don't kick me out.
Yeah, you see that man over there? Don't serve him. But no, if you guys don't have any questions, I'll just think out the top of my head. Normally, just look out for, like they said, tapping. Some people kind of stem out a lot, or they're very honest. Just work with them if you need to, like, kind of need them to do something you need them specifically to do, like, kind of turn it into, like, a conversation with them. Acting like, okay, this person's my buddy. This is my friend. He just want to talk. Because that's how our brain kind of works. That's kind of how my managers kind of trick me into doing something I don't want to do. If I'm honest, they make it seem like it was my idea, not theirs, which I kind of have to get them kudos on. Won't tell them that. But no, just make it seem like it was their idea.
What about like the other gentleman was saying, like, if they've got to get a lot of information out of you in a short amount of time, which is difficult.
I will have a talk with you later. Be straightforward with them as well. Like, say, hey, I gotta do something in, say, 30 minutes. Try to do it in 10-15 minutes so I have time to get to that place. So they could, like, kind of process, like, okay, gotta tell them this, and this. I could shorten everything in a way. Give you a brief summary. Just be very understanding, because at the end of it, each person with autism dealt with something different. Like, when I was growing up, I went through a lot of stuff that, like, no other person should have gone through. If you guys have questions about that, just you can ask me. I don't mind. It was just a time period that it was, it was not aware of, no knowledge about it. But each person with autism that grew up experienced something different. Just keep that in the back of your mind of, hey, this person probably went through something that may trigger them if I do that. But yeah. That's all I had to say.
Okay.
Mic drop.
Right? Boom.
Y'all got any other questions for us, or?
That was really.
Okay.
Really informative. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'm glad. I felt like I was kind of scattered when we were
Yeah.
talking, but
I was just sitting here waiting for my cue to talk.
like she needs a cue
Thank
to talk.
you.
Don't blow her head up. Now I'm gonna have to hear about
No,
this
keep
all
going. Blow
day
my
long.
head up, please. Thank you.
She loves it. Loves the attention.
Love that. I love it.
No, but we appreciate you guys listening to us. I know y'all are tired of hearing people talk.
This has
so-
actually been really good. I like the
This is one of the
one-on-one.
better ones, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling the other group we have like a whole PowerPoint, but I'm not gonna death by PowerPoint.
They're like, thank God you
know?
didn't do
Probably
that.
I'd say so.
But this right here has been, this has been really good.
Good, I'm glad. We'd love to have more interaction, like training, like how you guys would respond if a person acted the other way. Because in the reverse, it's good for us to have knowledge about what you're gonna do and how you're gonna react, and what we can do to help facilitate a peaceful confrontation.
Yeah,
Because
it'd be more of a team going into
Yeah.
it instead of two different,
Yeah.
two silos.
Y'all do get a good training, because we, at my dad's house, had to go through a handle with care, and that's like
It's a lot.
intense.
Yeah.
Like, so that training is
Yeah.
like, you can do a lot without hitting it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is, and all those movements are so restrictive, and I also manage human rights at our location, because unfortunately some people have to have their refrigerator locked, like a padlock on it. It looks really terrible. Or some people can't go in certain rooms of their house because they're destructive due to stimulatory behaviors. So we have to deal with the state a lot to make sure that we're not overly restricting somebody's basic human rights, but that also we're not allowing them access to food where they can literally eat themselves to death because they don't have that cutoff in their head that we have, I clearly don't either, so.
I'm sorry,
But-
I got the same issue, brother.
But yeah, so we deal with the state a lot, but I think there definitely needs to be more interaction with law enforcement as well.
Yep.
Because you guys face a lot. We appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
We appreciate all the encounters we're gonna have with you going forward, I'm sure.
Look forward to having a good one.
Yeah, we'd love to have you guys come out one day and like have your car and maybe some lights on periodically, depending on the person who's around. But just to let them know, like, this is not a bad thing. When they come to you, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't want them to be scared. I want them to have
You
positive
ever tried the
interaction.
safety city?
I did not think about that.
No, I didn't think about that either.
That is a really great
That is a
idea.
good
We should tell
I never
Dina.
thought about that.
We have a group that goes out every Saturday and they go to the zoo or they go
Safety
here
city
and
would be
there.
a good
Love
one.
that.
See if you can get an officer over there to kind of.
Yeah. I love that idea.
I didn't think about that.
Why have we never thought of that? Huh.
Well, you know what? I've never been to Safety City.
I'm not
And
either,
I've
but I've
heard
read
it's
about
I
it.
never even heard of Safety
I've
City.
heard
to be
It's a
honest.
mini,
It's
it's a
really
mini
cool.
Knoxville, it's pretty
It's really
cool,
cool.
it's really,
They got like roads and everything set up, right?
Street
They have a
lights
mini
and-
football
Ah.
field. You
Oh,
can
okay.
run a 100-yard dash in like half a second.
Damn,
Really?
wanna go.
I may have to do that.
Makes you feel like
Oh, it makes you feel giant.
Right.
So cool.
I love that
yeah,
idea.
that'd be good, I mean, just a
Yeah.
good interaction. And they have good relationships with a bunch of officers that are, so I'm sure that could be set up at any time, but.
That's
You
awesome.
were talking to low of the low.
Yeah,
Yeah, we really work here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's
So-
true, that's true.
You know, any kind of
Y'all
poll,
should
we
very
have
graduate.
none.
That's
So,
okay, but I mean, you're giving good ideas that I hadn't
Yeah.
thought of. I like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Mark that down, class, it's really good. So, but no, really appreciate you guys' time, and it was
Thank you.
very.
No, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for being so interactive
Yeah.
too. I know you're tired and
No, it's been
ready to
awesome.
go home, and
Thank you.
y'all go home on the weekends.
Yes.
Yes.
He's
It's
like,
almost
thank God.
time.
Yeah.
It's not residential.
That's good.
For her sake, she would kill us all.
Yeah, be gone.
So, well, thank you all very much.
Thank you. We appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Good luck with the rest of your training.
You can take a quick break and then,
Bye, Mom.